our comrade brother Amsat and say, Abala imperialism! Abala neocolonialism! Abala racism! Abala Zionism! Comrades, we are honored to be with you today, and we would like to give our appreciation to our comrades of the World Anti-Imperialist platform for taking the initiative to organize this historic forum today. And we would like, in that vein, also to give our revolutionary appreciation to all of those who helped to organize this, from those who sent out the invitations, to those who came to pick us up at the airport at 3 o'clock in the morning, to those who helped us have a place to sleep, food to eat, and our comrades who helped to interpret for us, to translate from the languages that we're speaking. If it were not for these workers who are interpreting, we would not be able to understand each other. The title of our presentation in the magazine says, "The best or worst shout against imperialism is to take up arms and fight." This was a proposal, but we countered with another proposal that we think is more appropriate for this conference. If you look online, you'll see the title there, "Imperialism will be defeated by coordination of revolutionary organizations working among the people." And why do we make this change? Because many people have picked up arms and fought, but they didn't fight against imperialism. What was lacking? Coordination of the revolutionary mass organizations led by ideology that comes from our people's culture. This is what was lacking. So this is why we propose this. We're honored to be here with you on this sacred weekend of the 50th anniversary of those courageous students who got on the front line to fight against fascism, to fight against imperialism, and spilled their blood. Those 40 students at the Polytech High School, whose blood has fertilized the soil to make a challenge to us to continue to fight against imperialism until it's finished, when it's wiped off the face of this planet and never to come back again.
That's right.
The only way that we can pay homage to those glorious students, those martyrs, and the other martyrs in the struggles against slavery, against capitalism, against imperialism, against Zionism, and to pay our debt to the comrades who organize this conference, is to make sure that we take the resolutions and put it into practice among our people on a daily basis, wherever our people are found. In the farmlands, in the factories, in the schools, in the villages, in the neighborhoods. Be among the people, live among the people, learn from the people, and help grow with the people. This is the only way we can take our people back to this.
That's right.
The organizers of this conference have correctly said there's a rising tide of imperialism. This is correct. It's natural. So we have a responsibility to make sure that not only we rise our tide, but we have two tsunamis to swallow up all those tides of imperialism, and to make sure that we defeat it and replace it with socialism.
That's right.
The PAIGC. Some comrades don't know the PAIGC, but if you ask the Cuban Revolution about the PAIGC, they will tell you it's one of the most serious parties to organize liberation struggles in Africa. You ask Fidel, you ask those who are with Fidel, you ask the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, the Communist Party of China, they will tell you about this African Party of Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde. A Pan-Africanist revolutionary mass party that not only struggled to liberate Guinea-Bissau, but as well Cape Verde, and made a great contribution to the liberation of Mozambique, and actually helped to co-found the MPLA in Angola, and to coordinate the struggle for the first time in the history of Africa. An organization called CONCP, the Conference of Nationalist Organizations in the Portuguese colonies, that coordinated armed struggle across state lines and helped to bring up this, and also made a contribution to the struggle in Palestine, to the struggle in Timor-Leste, to many struggles in the world, and continue to do that. It's a mass party founded by Comrade Amilcar Cabral. One of the greatest Pan-Africanisms that the world has ever known. Comrade Amilcar Cabral. He has in the principles of the PAIGC, dialectical materialism, historical materialism, criticism, self-criticism, democratic centralism, etc. All these revolutionary principles, but again now based on the culture of the mass of our people. It was able to take 99% people who were 99% illiterate, many with no shoes on their feet, many eating 1 time a day, to not only fight against Portuguese colonialism, but NATO, and won the war. And unilaterally claimed independence without any type of negotiations. This is what we had to do. There is not only shouts against imperialism that will kill imperialism. We must coordinate our political military struggle, not only on an international level, but at a national level, and all the way down to the grassroots, wherever our people are, on the farmlands and the schools. Cabral also had the opportunity to be one of the co-founders of a political military coordination called OSPAL, the Organization of Solidarity of the Peoples of Africa, Asia, and Latin America. It was founded in Havana, Cuba in January 1966. For the first time in the world, 260 delegates came from 70 different organizations who were all involved in mass organizing and armed struggle, from Vietnam to China, throughout Africa to Latin America. And it's this coordination, Cabral said to the delegates, more important than giving us money, more important than giving us guns, let us correct an ideological deficiency. One of the biggest weaknesses in 1966, one of the biggest weaknesses we have in our struggle is the ideological deficiency. The ignorance of the reality we want to transform. 1966. I think now, 60-something years, 57 years later, it still is one of our biggest weaknesses. We must confess, Cabral said we must struggle against our own weaknesses. And one of our weaknesses, even some of those who are in this room right now, we still don't understand the reality we want to transform. True or false? True. True. Once you know that's your weakness, then you come to correct the weakness. There are many comrades who would ask me, Guinea-Bissau, where's Guinea-Bissau? And you want to transform Guinea-Bissau. Other comrades around us, we don't know anything about Africa. And you want to transform Africa. So even some comrades here in Greece told me, they don't know what's going on in Yugoslavia. They don't know what's in other parts of Europe. So first we have to correct that weakness. The second thing Cabral said is that we can utilize this forum to correct this error. At least trace we have enough accumulated experience among ourselves. We've been listening to the presentations. We have accumulated experience among ourselves. We're exchanging ideas so we can trace a general line of thought and action to correct this deficiency. And this would be greater than giving money or guns in our struggle. And here, we want to say we agree with the organizers of this World Anti-Imperialist platform when they say that ideals and correct lines must be a priority for us. These ideals and correct lines, they say, will reinforce the communist camp and the larger revolutionary front against imperialism to put theory into practice. Cabral tells us that if every practice produces a theory, and that out of these theories now, we come to a greater level of thinking and put it into practice to get greater levels of thinking. He says that nobody in the world has ever had a successful revolution without theory. And this theory comes from our practice. So through this theory, put it to practice, like our comrade from Chile said, that it's only the practice that produces, that verifies the truth. So here, history is a guide for us. Comrade Karl Marx, that great revolutionary, gave us many analyses. But when he made his physical transition, he left behind his great comrade, Friedrich Engels. In 1989, Friedrich Engels was asked a question by a student named John Bloch. And he responded to John Bloch. He said that if anybody tells you, he said that what Marx and I have said is that ultimately, the determining element to change history is the production and reproduction of real life. ultimately, but not only. If anybody says that the economic element is the only element to determine the forward movement of history to transform the society, that they have made this a meaningless and abstract phrase. What does it mean? If you think that it's only the economic element, then you leave outside the question of consciousness. Consciousness is a determining factor to the changes of the productive forces. We can give you an example of Che Guevara. Che Guevara came from a very rich family. Our comrade from Argentina can testify to this. He came from a bourgeois family. His family was one of the richest families in all of Latin America. But he came to have revolutionary consciousness, revolutionary self-consciousness, and made one of the greatest contributions to changing the productive force in the world, in the history of the world. This is an example for us. So our revolutionary party must be the political manifestation of the culture of the people. The liberation movement is the culture of our people organized politically. So in this process, in struggling against the reality, the struggle based upon the reality, we understand the reality. That one of the greatest weapons of our enemy is not the nuclear bombs. It's not the atomic bombs. It's traitors. Those who have betrayed the revolution. And this is the thing I've been reading every single day in this country. Down with traitors. Down with traitors. How about a traitor? So comrades, as we move to close, we want to say that if coordination is key to our struggle, we must do as Cabral said. Look at the weaknesses. The reality is we don't have enough political coordination. We don't have enough political coordination, which is why we want to thank the World Anti-Imperialist platform for taking the initiative to help fill that gap, that fundamental gap, to have coordination among the revolutionary forces without equal coordination. But here again now, nobody can think without information, even though there are people who think that they think without information. They're arrogant in their thinking. The big problem we have with Zionism, imperialists and capitalists, is they have dominated the misinformation in the world. But fortunately, we have other sources that bring us correct information. And I've even asked some of our comrades, say, what about tell us truth? You can tell us truth in your area? No, they blocked it in my country. But it's online. And tell us truth, tell us the truth. I'm just giving that as an example. I can go to the example of Cuba, I go to the example of other places. So I would like to make the challenge to these comrades who are here, to let us use our energy, our creativity, to come together to coordinate information. Even among the information that already exists, making a list of those alternative forms where we can spread throughout our membership, so instead of people turning on CNN or Voice of America or RFP or all these other imperialist misinformation sources, they get the truth. And the truth will set us free. The second thing I want to say is that we need to coordinate our ideological training processes. We must all study Marx. We must all study Engels. We must all study Mao Zedong. But we must also study Amilcar Cabral. We must study Ahmed Sekou. We must study Assadin for Kwame Nkrumah. So we can learn the reality about the struggle we want to change. So in closing, I want to give you the example that Amilcar Cabral gave of Vladimir Lenin. He said we must be a complete human being. Vladimir Lenin was a complete human being. A human being who had love for the progress of our people, hatred for the enemies of progress. A person who was honest. A person who knew how to separate the strategies from the tactics. A person who knew how to take the essential information and separate it from the tertiary information. A comrade who gave us all to make sure that our people are given the proper weapons to make sure that we free ourselves. So in closing, I want to say, the African Party of Independence of Guinea-Bissau is in solidarity with all the peoples in the world in our just struggle to transform our society, to wipe imperialism off the face of the earth, particularly to lift up the blockade against Cuba. Let unblock Cuba. To let Cuba live. Unblock Cuba. Our best blockade in Cuba. We're in solidarity with the people of the Sahara who are oppressed by the French neocolonists of Morocco. We're in solidarity with the Palestinians in their just struggle against the Zionists. We're in solidarity with all the just peoples the world, the American Indians throughout North, Central, and South America in that just struggle against Yankee settler colonialism inside of the homeland of America. We're in solidarity with all the just people in Australia who are struggling against settler colonialism there. And we want to say now that we have solidarity among all the people and say that this struggle will continue. As they say in Latin America and in the parts of Africa, luta continua. Luta continua.